It all started with a pile of soggy leaves dumped on my lawn like a passive-aggressive insult from the universe. Not the kind of mess autumn gently scatters, but a deliberate heap of maple and oak sludge that didn't belong to any tree on my property. Just the day before, I'd spent hours perfecting my front yard, raking razor-straight lines into the grass. And now this. It felt like vandalism disguised as landscaping. I didn't even need to play detective, because as I was inspecting the mess, I heard the unmistakable crunch of wedge heels on gravel. There she was, Deborah Crenshaw, secretary of the HOA, self-appointed neighborhood watchdog, and reigning queen of unsolicited critiques. Clutching her pumpkin spice latte like it was a warrant, she marched straight up to the pile and sneered. Article 3. Section 5 Seasonal debris must be cleared within 24 hours. Expect a fine. Then she just turned and strutted off like she'd mic dropped on a courtroom drama. I blinked. Those aren't even my leaves, I muttered to myself. But it didn't matter to her. Her sunglasses hid any expression that wasn't smug disdain. What she didn't know is I had a Ring camera, and that little eye in the sky caught everything. That afternoon, I watched the footage, and there she was, Deborah, dragging 2 overfilled bins across the street, wearing leopard print gardening gloves, and dumping the leaves right onto my lawn, like it was some kind of choreographed HOA hazing ritual. I laughed out loud, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. Naturally, I sent the video to the HOA board. Surely, they'd see reason. But 2 days later, I got a formal letter fining me $50 for accumulated organic debris. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a one-time pettiness. Deborah wasn't just power-hungry. She was building an empire, and I was next in line to be bulldozed. Deborah had fined old Mr. Howard for repainting his shutters the wrong shade of gray, cited the Johnsons for having lawn gnomes that weren't aesthetically compliant, and had even once measured a neighbor's flagpole for height violations. She ran our HOA like a petty dictatorship with a laminator. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. So, I printed a screenshot from the video her mid-dump, so to speak, and anonymously emailed it to every resident in the neighborhood. Subject line: Your HOA leadership in action. The response: explosive. My inbox lit up with replies, some outraged, some hilarious. But Deborah? She doubled down. She circulated a memo accusing me of unauthorized surveillance and introduced new bylaws that limited where Ring cameras could face. She claimed it was about privacy. Everyone knew it was about power. That's when I knew evidence wasn't enough. I had to hit her where it hurt: her reputation, her image, and more importantly, her porch. That's when the idea of mulch hit me. Not a handful, a truckload. But I didn't want to cross legal lines. So, I pulled up public records. And guess what? Deborah's elaborate front porch, complete with swan-shaped trellis, was illegally built 4 feet into the community easement. It wasn't her property. It belonged to all of us. I confirmed it with Marcus, my friend who's a land use attorney and veteran of HOA drama himself. He said, honestly, you could host a bonfire on that space and still be within your rights. I didn't go that far. I just called Vince, the local landscaping guy, and asked, how much mulch can I dump before it becomes structural? He laughed for 5 straight minutes. We scheduled the delivery for Saturday morning. Red cedar mulch. Fancy. Stains everything it touches. I even made a laminated sign that read, Community Improvement Zone. Do not disturb. Deborah was trimming imaginary weeds when Vince's truck pulled up. The look on her face as that first cubic yard spilled onto her illegal patio was priceless. What is this? She shrieked. Delivery, I said, showing her the plat map and pointing to the highlighted easement zone. Just returning the land to nature. Neighbors watched from their driveways. Someone even brought popcorn. Deborah threatened to call the police. Instead, a zoning inspector named Greg showed up. Sunburned, unimpressed, and holding a clipboard. He took one look and said, Ma'am, this is mulch. Not a fence. Not a hazard. Just wood chips. Then he turned to her and asked, Is your porch permitted? The silence that followed was thick enough to mulch. And then boom. Federal audit. Apparently, someone tipped off the Department of Housing. Deborah had been filing HOA expenses as business deductions claiming consultation fees, morale bonuses, and my personal favorite, decorative oversight. The treasurer leaked the documents. Turns out Deborah had been embezzling funds for years. A community group chat blew up with memes. One showed her holding a rake, captioned, "Raking in HOA fees literally." She sued me, of course, claimed emotional distress, defaced property, and reputational harm. Her evidence? Screenshots from my ring footage, the same ones she claimed violated her privacy. The judge watched 30 seconds of it, looked over her glasses, and said, "Ms. Crenshaw, you said," and I quote, "that'll teach him," while dumping leaves on his lawn. Her case was dismissed, publicly, but the real blow came when county auditors raided the HOA shed behind her house. They found surveillance logs, notes on everyone's yard habits, and get Thesa corkboard conspiracy map with yarn connecting problem properties. She wasn't just nosy. She was building a suburban spy ring, hidden in a lockbox, $12,000 in small bills, and a spreadsheet titled Discretionary Bribe Fund, Do Not Audit. It was all their names, dates, amounts. She even tried to write off an espresso machine as community morale equipment. The HOA was forced to refund every fine issued under her reign. And who was chosen to oversee the restitution process? Me. Every neighbor she wronged got a check, labeled things like mailbox color compensation and unauthorized flamingo refund. Deborah's house? Foreclosed. Her power? Gone. Her image? Mulched beyond repair. The final insult? Her prize shed is now a community library. The sign reads, "From control to knowledge in memory of Deborah Crenshaw." She tried to return once. Showed up at a potluck wearing sunglasses and a floppy hat, pretending to be someone named D. Lee Benson. Said she brought gluten-free cookies. Mrs. Alvarez, our new HOA president, walked up to her, smiled, and said, "Take your Tupperware and go." And just like that, Deborah disappeared. Her downfall wasn't just about leaves. It was about what happens when power is abused, when rules are used as weapons, and when neighbors finally say enough is enough. All it took was some mulch, a camera, and a whole lot of community spirit to bring down a tyrant in wedge heels.